Welcome back to Hot Rod Guy Garage. This is going to be another episode on 65 Mustang, so follow me along through the intro, and I'll be back. And alright guys, this video is going to pick up literally the day that this last one was released. If you're new to the channel, make sure you check out the series that this video is in. Check out this car from the beginning because it has been a mess. So, like I said, picking this up where the last video ended. So I'm going to continue block sanding on this car. I'm going to put y'all in time lapse. And I'll be back when there's something to update. But just like I have been doing, I'm going to be wet sanding the car with 400 grit wet and dry paper on Durablocks. I just got the Durablock 6-piece set. It'll pretty much do everything you ever need to do. So stick with me and I'll be back. But before we get started, Daisy is already out here doing her supervising duties, and she'd like to remind y'all to hit that subscribe button and comment down below so she can have some more cat treats. And alright guys, like I've said before, use that water to check your reflection. So that water is going to act like paint, let you see ahead into the future. So, as you can see, we got a pretty nice straight reflection going on. Can't stress enough how helpful that is in the grand scheme of things. Once you get to doing this, you'll understand why. Hopefully some of y'all can pick something up just watching me do this as far as technique goes. There is a technique to wet sanding. You're just not going in there all willy-nilly. But it's looking pretty good so far. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to put y'all back on time lapse and then I'll be back later. Well, I got the fender all blocked out, so let's hit it with a little water and see what the reflection looks like. Yeah, looks pretty good. Got a good straight reflection. So since it's the weekend, I'm not going to pull the front clip off of it. I think I'll move on to the doors and see what I can get done. And we'll see what happens. I've got the upper half of the door blocked. As you can see, we got a good straight reflection there. So that's what you're shooting for, guys. Is that right there? And up to this point, this video represents about 5 hours of my life. I've still got to do the bottom half of the door, you know, a little small section. When you block sand, you want to bust this up into sections just like when you've done your body work. You're not going to body work the whole panel at once. You want to bust it at the body lines or curves or creases or something like that. And what that does in the end is it gives you a better result, lets you pay a little more attention to what you're doing. So pretty much from this point out, this is going to be mega time consuming stuff, and you want it to be as right as you possibly can make it. If you start to see spots that won't block out, go back in there by all means and fix them and reprime that area, re-guide coat it, and re-block it. So far, I've not really seen anything I need to go back in there and fix, which is great. But I still got a small section of the door, that little small section at the bottom above the rocker panel. And then from there, I will probably move to the passenger side door, just because I'm working my way backwards on the car. At this point, I'm more or less just kind of killing some time here at the shop today. So if I can get the driver's side door blocked and the passenger side started, we'll be pretty good off. And alright, at this point it's Sunday. So I'm out here working on the car again. I'm working on block sanding. I got the paint for the car ordered. I'll drop a little screenshot somewhere in here of the colors that I chose out for it. And I'm just going to continue working along block sanding. I'm not going to film all this in time lapse or fast forward like I usually do. Pretty much every panel is going to need the same amount of attention. If there's a place that may be difficult or a compound curve that somebody may not know how to block sand, I will jump back in. But first, I'm going to show you one right here. I've done the other side and didn't jump in and show you, so I'm going to show you on the passenger side. So my goal today is to at least get the passenger door finished up and around the cove areas for the side scoops. And there's a reason for that. I am going to block the side scoops off probably an inch or an inch and a half back from the opening lip, and I need that area to be smooth so I can feel the inside of the scoop and have an accurate shape. So I'll get into that a little later, but right now let me flip it around. One of the most horrible areas, if you'll start to notice at car shows and stuff, you look at these cars, not just Mustangs, but any car that's got a raised door handle bump like this, the old style chrome handle. A lot of times these things, you see sand and scratches and waviness and all kinds of nasty stuff just around these areas. Most because these guys, when they do these cars, they don't really block around these areas. You can block sand these. You just need to use a small block, something like this, and you're going to come in here around these areas and you're just going to work, you know, like this around the area, you know, around you, other like this. And then you're going to try to blend all this area in to this area right here to when you jump to your long block or your long area. So hopefully that'll help somebody. And I always hit over the tops of them too, because even though that's hidden by the rubber, you still want it good and smooth, because when you tighten it down, those little bit of roughness from the primer could actually crack the primer. So just, you know, hit it a little bit. So hopefully that'll help somebody. I tried to explain the best I could. A lot of these show cars that you see, a lot of these high dollar cars, guys, look around that door handle. You'll be surprised. Well, I'm just block sanding along and I look behind me and Daisy's there supervising. She seems pretty pleased at the current moment. We'll get the door finished up. don't know if we can get a reflection off of it or not, but it looks pretty good. There's a couple little dry spots there. Daisy is over there doing her thing, but door slicked up pretty good. Well, it feels unseasonably hot today for whatever reason. So, could just be the sun. So, I'm going to continue blocking. It's still kind of early in the day, so I definitely need to get the quarter, at least the front half the quarters done, because we need to do something about filling those side scoops in and dealing with that issue. I've been kind of putting it off to this stage because I want it smooth. It's going to be a little unconventional, so just stick with me. And all right, I'm on to the quarter panel. One of the hardest places you're going to have to block out on a 64 through 66 Mustang is going to be the roof to quarter panel transition. If you remember several previous videos back, I showed you how important it was to keep that shape as long as you could between that roof and that quarter panel. That's where a lot of the builders that build these cars, especially coupe cars, fail because they rounded up way too high. And in an original car, these lines follow almost down to the complete transition. So I'll show you how to block it. And all right, guys, here we are. We have a flat here, okay? This body line's flat. This one is concave. This one is convex. This is concave, concave, and all these tie together in this lower area right here, about a thumb's width right here. A lot of guys that build these cars, they will actually round it off up to here and think that that's okay. Telltale, anytime you go to a car show, look at these coupe cars and you'll see what I'm talking about. So there's not gonna be a lot of talking while I'm saying this, but just watch the process. This will be in real time. You see what I say about it being convex or concave? I'm going to use my round block here, and I'm just going to work in this area, but not up over the edges. You get up here where it's steeper, you can kind of get your throw of where you need to go. Get a little spider right here, kind of hanging out. But you want to learn where your limits are as you're coming down into that area. And just work slowly. Keep your panel wet. You're just going to work this down this way. As you start to come towards the end down here, it's going to roll to this first, because you want these two to roll this way and you want this one to roll this way. And if you don't have a round block, you can use a small square block, but just use the edge, the rounded edge of the block. And once you get those 3 areas, I didn't work this far back, just worked the edge just for demonstration purposes here. But once you get these 3 edges right here worked out, you're gonna come in here in an upward motion. You're gonna work this whole quarter here in kind of a circle or semicircle as we go around. And when I talk about blending block sanding, it's, see, we'll come in from this angle lightly a little bit too, and we'll come in from the curve on the quarter a little bit also. And what that does, that blends this transition in. So hopefully that explains that a little bit. I'm gonna finish working this and I'll come back and I'll show you the finished product. But I'm gonna work it in exactly the way I talked about. These 3 different areas, your flat, your concave, and your convex area. Alright guys, I went ahead and worked the cell panel all the way up the corner of the roof. When I say block sand to the line, not over the line, this is exactly what I mean right here. You can see, and what that does, that gives you them crisp lines. But this area, it's going to be hard to show because A, of the color, and B, the sun. But I got all 3 of our transitions pulled down into this area right here, which is exactly where they should be. On a vinyl top car, this is where your trim goes. So that's a natural point where all 3 of these curves, well, I say 3, it's actually 5. So you got 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Where all those merge together. And that's an area that you want to be right. So maybe that'll help somebody out there. That transition is a very difficult transition to make. But if it's not right, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Like I said, look at some of these cars at car shows, guys. Not one of them will be the same. But what I do know is from the factory, that's how that transition looks. All 3 of the upper body lines come down into those other 3 transitions there. Well, your other 2, you know, your rear window filler panel and the top of your quarter. That's a very important area to make look right, especially if you're trying to make a nice car. Got the quarter panel done. See if we can capture the reflection here in the water, or otherwise. So like this point, I'm 3/4 way done with the car. I've got both front fenders, both doors, and 1/4 block sanded out. And so far, I've not had to go back in there and fix anything, which once again is kind of amazing. This proves that taking your time and working this stuff by hand goes a long ways. But let me get this thing dried out, get it back in here in the shop, and we'll start messing them side scoops. So at this point, we need to block off the open area of these side scoops since they're non-functional. We need to block it off far enough back that you can't see it. But pretty much this is all going to have to be blocked off, keep from trapping air and possibly ripping it off on the interstate. So that's why I bonded the bolts in it. And now I'm going to take this masking tape right here. I'm going to tape up this cove and we'll go from there. Alright, I got that taped up good. I went on the back side of our scoop and taped up areas. I left about a finger's width back. So it's going to make a small slit in our tape. So this can pass through. And then I'll bolt the scoop on and we can go from there. So a lot of you wondering what I'm going to block it off with. Spray foam. I'm not going to leave this bare, but this will work to make the plug for the block off. So how many of you are wigging out that I'm using spray foam? There's a reason for it. We'll get into that here in just a moment. But I'm gonna trim some of this off. That's what I'm doing right now. I'll be back and we'll talk about it. All right. So, household spray foam. This stuff. Bad stuff using automotive applications, okay? A lot of people use it to fill rust holes, fill gaps and cracks, and they use it to put filler over and all kinds of nasty stuff and other hack job kind of ways. The way we're using this, it's up against fiberglass. I'm going to coat it in fiberglass resin, which will essentially make the foam just a core. A lot of your fiberglass hoods have a foam core, if you didn't know that. The braces that are molded in on the bottom side of the fiberglass hood is a foam core. So basically what I'm doing, I'm making a plug for these side scoops. I'm going to cut the foam back once it cures. It'll take it overnight. I'm going to cut it back about an inch or two to the point where it's not visible. I'm going to seal it with fiberglass, and then I'll come in there and body work that little edge on the inside and paint that portion black. And what that will do will give us a non-functional side scoop without being able to catch a bunch of air and rip itself off the car. I'd thought about how I was doing this ever since I've ordered these things, and this was about the best option I could come up with, other than building a fiberglass plug itself. And without some kind of core like this foam core, it's going to be almost impossible. So that's the route I chose to take. Unfortunately, it's probably going to take a day or two it's not going to take a day or two to cure out, but it's going to take it overnight for this foam to finish expanding 100% and cure out. So what will happen at that point, I'll come back in here in the morning and we'll take this out and we'll see what happens. But that will probably be for our next video, because I would imagine at this point this was starting to kind of run a little long, as I've been filming for a few days at this point. So let me get the shop wrapped up and then I'll be back. All right, guys. So at this point, this video is probably running long, like I said before. So I'm going to pretty much cut it off here. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button, share this video with your friends. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. About 55% of y'all are not subscribers. It does help the channel to grow. It does help me knock some off his labor bill. Like today and yesterday, the weekend, I don't charge him for this stuff, guys. YouTube really don't cover the amount of labor that I've copped on this car so far. So things you can do to help is hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment down below. All that is absolutely free or takes a few seconds of your time, but it does help out greatly in the grand scheme of things. If you are a subscriber, I greatly appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all at the next video. Thank you for watching.